how people were saying that when I got engaged and I got married, my game would take a turn. I'd be done. Okay, I have a child. My game was over. You know, all these things make your life better. I remember at Doral this year, I three-putt last hole. I thought I threw away a great round of golf. Just hot as can be driving home. And I get home and, you know, Sam's there with us. And it was the first time she actually recognized me on TV. Elin ended up getting a videotape of it. And every time they showed me, she's up on the TV and she'd start patting me on the TV. And as she changed camera angles, I'd move to a different part of the TV and she'd walk over there and start patting that part of the TV. Well, I said, Elin, well, no duh. I mean, I was on there forever. I was three-putting. If you have a son or daughter, you want to introduce them to the game of golf, and you want to get them started in the game of golf properly, well, what would you do? Well, you wouldn't give them your club, because obviously it's too heavy. So why not fit the club to the player? I think that with the new club fitting systems that we have, I think that's what you have to do. You have to incorporate that. And not just in junior golf, but I mean all you players. There's nothing wrong with going out and talking to your local pro and trying to get the best clubs that fit you, and have them fit you properly. Loft, lies, weight of the shaft, weight of the heads. All these make a difference in how you can perform and the technique that you can have and the consistency you can have. You know, I would never want, you know, my daughter Sam, as she grew up and she wanted to play the game of golf, I would never give her my clubs. I would always try to have clubs that fit her and her swing and her strength. Any other questions?
On your wedges, specifically your sand wedge, how far do you normally hit that for just a full swing?
Mine I hit 118 yards.
Okay, if you want to come back and dial that back,
go ahead.
What is your procedure to do that? Do you do it by shortening your backswing, hitting it not quite as hard, or if you want to hit it 40 yards one time, 60 the next, 80 times the next? What do you do?
Well, you go ahead. I want this one. This is all.
My answers are terrible if you guys are trying to learn something. I've just grown up as somebody who feels his way around the golf course. Tiger hits a sand wedge 118. Sometimes it goes 100 yards when I hit it full, and sometimes it goes 125. It just depends on the day. I try to figure that out right before I go out on the golf course. But you know, sometimes it's 3/4 back actually goes further than when I go full back. So it's all a big guessing game for me.
You know, one of the things that as I tried to explain earlier is trajectory. You know, control your distance with trajectory. So if all things being equal, if you made exactly the same club head speed and you hit the ball slightly lower, it's not going to go as far, right? All things being equal, hit the ball slightly higher, it's going to probably go a little bit further. You know, it's one of the things as I've tried to learn how to learn from the older players, like Mark O'Meara, like John Cook. These guys were unbelievable with wedges. And that's what they would do. They would control it all with traj. And, you know, as I explained to you with my follow-through, rib high, shoulder high, obviously above my head with different heights that I would hit it at, well, that's what I would do with my wedges. So I would make the same backswing, same speed, and I would cut it off here, and I hit it a little different, I hit it a little bit lower. When I follow through up to my shoulders, I'd hit the ball a little bit further than that. And that's all that is. If I had to hit 115, 110, 108, all that is feel, obviously, and that's practice. And it's like that's what we do for a living. We do practice it. So the easiest way to explain it to you is that if I was hitting at 118 yards and I want to hit 110 one time, what I would do is probably swing just a little bit easier, not by much, and all I would do is cut off my follow-through a little bit lower. I'd drive the ball in, and obviously being a little bit easier and cutting off my trajectory not as high, the ball's not going to go as far. And that would be about 110-ish. So that's how I do it. Other players do it differently. Other players have that whole clock system. I didn't play that way because I grew up very little, and my dad couldn't explain it that way to me. I wouldn't understand it.
Find out how Tiger's dad taught him complicated lessons.
Obviously, you can't tell a 3 or 4-year-old 10%.
when Tee It Up with Tiger continues on Golf Channel.